Welcome back to another edition of Average Joe News Co. This is episode 15, and today we'll be covering an emu that led police on a chase through Dade City, Florida, as well as an overdue book that was returned to a Welsh library after 116 years. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's go.
Our first story today: in Dade City, Florida, a loose emu was reported early in the morning. Police managed to bring the situation under control safely, ensuring no people or animals were harmed during the ordeal. Authorities have not released details regarding where the emu originally came from or who is the owner of the bird. Florida really is the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to weird news content.
Emotional damage. Only in Florida, boy. I'm glad I got it on my flip phone, though.
Despite what you might be thinking, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission actually does, in fact, restrict what Florida residents can own in terms of wildlife. Most of us probably saw Tiger King, and despite that craziness, there is actually different classifications of wildlife in Florida. Specifically, Class 1 wildlife can't be owned as personal pets. Those are things like big cats, most crocodiles, gorillas, bears, rhinos, elephants, and many more that you probably wouldn't want your next door neighbor having.
Hello. Can I help you?
Class 2 is where it gets interesting. These are animals that can be privately owned as pets, but do require a permit to have them.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
We're talking bobcats, clouded leopards, alligators, monkeys, giraffes, wildebeest, wolves, wolverines, and many others. There are actually quite a bit of requirements for things like experience working with these animals, facilities requirements, inspections, so it's not as easy as simply just buying a giraffe and putting it in your backyard. The point is, this emu could have come from just about anywhere, and I think the Dade County Police Department was probably just happy that this call wasn't a giraffe, wolf, or wildebeest recovery, because that could have been something that happened. All right, moving on to our second topic. Conwy Libraries in Wales posted a story about a man who returned 2 books that his grandfather had borrowed in 1910. The library was very excited to get the books back, but was happier to be a part of the family's story. The story doesn't say what the book actually was, but my guess is The Rosary by Florence L. Barclay, which of course was the most popular book in 1910, as is commonly known in the year of 2026. Did this guy simply find this book and then return it, or was the guilt of having a book that was 116 years overdue, did that just weigh on him to the point where he could no longer go forward without returning it? This might be a weird thing to say, but I can imagine how that book smells, and I think pretty much anyone who's ever been around a really old book can also probably relate to that and the specific smell that I'm talking about. Could you imagine if this library charged interest on the late fee? It seems that most libraries charge daily late fees for 30 to 60 days, declare the book missing after that period, and then also charge a replacement cost. Thankfully, the library isn't structured like the government giving a student loan or collecting back taxes, or else this book may have been an $18 million late fee when returned.
And I think it's probably going to be something like, I don't know, at least $600 billion.
Just for reference, when this book was signed out, horses were still the primary mode of transport, child labor was still common, a movie ticket cost 10 cents, and the average annual wage was roughly $500 to $700 in the United States. Good job to this guy for making good on his 116-year book loan. I'm glad that he came forward and decided to return it. I don't think anyone would have noticed if he had just kept it.
And I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Moving on to sports, there's still really not much going on. We're in that midsummer period. That's just kind of the doldrums of the sports world. The MLB trade deadline is happening this week. We've also got the Tour de France going on, but that is boring.
Boring.
And we've also got a big cricket tournament in England happening, which is also boring.
Boring.
So we're just going to move right past sports and go on to weather. Our random city of today is Bengkulu, Indonesia, with a high of 87 and a low of 77. What jumped out to me is that it is at 97% humidity for today and pretty much every single day of this week. That is brutal. Our fun fact about Bengkulu is that it's famous for the Rafflesia or noldi, the world's largest flower, which can grow over 3 feet wide and smells like rotting meat to attract flies. I'm sure the locals are not too happy that that is the calling card of the area. That's our episode today. Thanks again for coming and checking us out as always. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode, and with that, hit the music.